Welcome to SATV News. This is Nuri Alamin with the headlines. Flawed election will undermine all progress, said BNP Salahuddin. Still no consensus on transition through a democratic process. Consensus Commission won't impose decisions, only consult parties, said Dr. Ali Riaz. Commission has no authority to implement July Charter. Jakshu voting concludes. Vote counting is underway. Chhatradol boycotts elections over rigging allegations. Now in details. BNP Standing Committee member Salahuddin Ahmed has said that without any fair and free election, the interim government's achievements withhold no significance. He made the remarks today at a roundtable discussion titled Expectations and Challenges of a Free and Fair Election, organized by the Citizens Coalition at the Sirdap Auditorium in the capital's Topkhana Road area. Ensuring a free, fair and neutral election in February is one of the greatest challenges facing the nation, said Ahmed, while noting that the country may no longer be under fascist rule. He also emphasized that there is still no consensus on transitioning through a democratic process. There is still time, and he is hopeful of reaching a consensus through dialogue. He also added. The BNP leader further stressed that only an elected parliament has the constitutional authority to approve amendments. If an alternative process is pursued, any revised constitution could later face legal challenges in court. He also warned. Ahmed also acknowledged that while there are proposals for over 100 reform, complete agreement among all political parties may not be possible. The National Consensus Commission will not impose any decisions on its own, as it will work out an execution plan based on what political parties want, said Commission Vice Chairman Dr. Ali Riaz today. He also made the remark as the Commission resumed talk in the morning as the Foreign Service Academy with political parties on implementing the July Charter. The cooperation the Commission has received so far from all political parties has been remarkable, Professor Riaz said, adding that almost every party has made concession from its original position. The spirit of consensus has enabled the preliminary agreement on 84 issues. The success of implementing reform in this area will determine Bangladesh's future trajectory. He also added, while some reform would be undertaken by interim government, others would be implemented later through elected representative. Said the Professor Ali Riaz, adding the Commission will consult an expert panel to decide which reform the interim government can pursue immediately, but will not dictate action for elected representative after the poll. He further said the Commission has no authority to implement the July Charter. Voting for the Jahangirnagar University Central Students' Union and Hall Unions has concluded. Voting began across 21 residential halls, 11 for men and 10 for women this morning. The students started to cast their ballot at 9 a.m. amid tight security. Voting continued 5 p.m. However, polling at Jatiyo Kobi Kazi Nazrul Islam Hall began at 9:10 a.m. 10 minutes later than scheduled due to a delay in the arrival of ballot papers. Hall Provost Mohammad Abdul Razak explained voting began 10 minutes late because the ballot paper arrived late. The process is now proceeding smoothly. He also added that 16 booths have been set up at the central with 10 polling staff on duty on manage the election. Nearly 12,000 registered voters are expected to cast a ballot for a 40 position, each 25 Jakshu and 15 their respective hall union. A total number of 177 candidates, 132 male and 45 female are vying their post in the central body, while 444 are running for 215 posts in 21 hall union. Viewers, we're taking a short break. Stay with us.
Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation. Modern gym and serene spa for well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless and secured. Elegant and eye-catching design. Indulge, relax, discover.
Welcome back, and you are watching SATV News. Now, news from abroad. US right-wing activist and commentator Charlie Kirk, an influential ally of President Donald Trump, was fatally shot dead on Wednesday at the event at the Utah University. He was speaking at a debate at Utah Valley University when authorities said a shooter fired a single round from a rooftop. However, there was initial confusion over a manhunt of Kirk's killer, with FBI Director Kash Patel posting the subject had been detained before walking the back an hour later. Agents from the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, the firearms and explosive were the same. Attorney General Pam Bondi said on X it was not clear whether the suspect had been arrested. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said on Wednesday the shooting death of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk was a potential assassination. Meanwhile, Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bureau Mention said the suspect remained at large. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday warned Qatar to either expel Hamas officials, which he described as terrorists, or bring them to justice. Netanyahu accused Qatar of providing safe haven and financing to Hamas, drawing a sharp rebuke from Doha, who hit back in a strongly worded statement early on Thursday, describing his remark about the Gulf country hosting of a Hamas office at reckless. In a statement, Qatar Foreign Ministry condemned what it described as the Netanyahu explicit threats of future violation of state sovereignty. The heated exchange came more than a day after Israel attempted to kill Hamas political leader on an airstrike on Qatar on Tuesday, escalating its military campaign in the Middle East and prompting a flurry of international condemnation. Israel's genocide on Gaza has killed at least 64,656 people since 2023 on October.
Harbor to terrorists. Well, yesterday,
Nepal's capital, Kathmandu, remained under curfew on Tuesday as the army prepared to resume talks with Gen Z protesters to decide the new interim leader for the Himalayan nation, according to the army spokesperson. Prohibitionary order to stay in Kathmandu and surrounding area for the most of the day, the army said in a statement, while their party spokesperson said international flights were operating. Exemptions were made for essential service, vehicle and institution, allowing them to operate during curfew hour. The death toll from protest had risen 30 by Thursday, Nepal's health ministry said, with 1,033 injured. Meanwhile, locals in Nepal stood divided over deciding who should become a new interim leader for Himalayan nation. Former Chief Justice Sushila Kaki, who Nepal's first woman appointed to the job in 2016. Russian drones entering Polish airspace on Wednesday was an attempt to test Poland and NATO capability to react, said the Polish President Karol Nawrocki on Thursday. It was an attempt and provocation to the test of mechanism of operation within the North Atlantic Alliance and our readiness of response, while talking to the soldier at a military base on Poznan. The UN Secretary and Security Council will hold an emergency meeting to discuss this week unprecedented operation in which European Union and NATO member state Poland, the backed by NATO ally, shot down suspected Russian drone that violated its airspace. Moscow denied responsibility for incident, with Russian Defense Ministry adding it had no plan to hit any target in Poland.
zdolności reagowania także polityków, prezydenta Polski, premiera Polski na to, co się dzieje we współczesności.
Meanwhile, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz called the Russian drone incursion into Poland part of a long series of provocations on Wednesday. During a joint press conference with European Council President Antonio Costa in Berlin, the Met said that such provocation had been seen in the Baltic and NATO eastern flank for months. The German government condemned this aggressive behavior by Russia in the strongest possible term, also said. The March further said Germany would wait internal discussion in the European Council regarding sanctions against Israel following its strike in Qatar. Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Luiz Fux voted on Wednesday to acquit the former president Jair Bolsonaro on an alleged coup attempt annual his trial over the jurisdiction breaking with peers, raising the odd to an appeal to the verdict this week. The High Court still seems likely to convict the Bolsonaro of plotting a coup to remain in power after he was bowed out of his 2022. Two judges on the five-judge panel already vowed to convict, and the remaining two were appointed by leftist President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, who defeated Bolsonaro in 2022 election. But Fox's vote could bolster an argument of Bolsonaro's defense that the case should be decided by the High Court full bench of 11 justices, including two who were appointed by the former president.
Crime. Obrigado.
Isso que julgo improcedente a pretensão.
Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Luiz Fux voted on Wednesday to acquit former President Jair Bolsonaro of an alleged coup attempt and annul his trial over jurisdiction, breaking with peers and raising odds an appeal verdict this week. The High Court still seems likely to convict Bolsonaro of plotting a coup to remain in power after the vote out of Brazil 2022. Two judges on the five-judge panel already vowed to convict, and remaining two were appointed by leftist President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, who defeated Bolsonaro in 2022 election. But Fox's vote could bolster the argument of Bolsonaro's defeat that the case should be decided by High Court full bench of 11 justices, including two who were appointed by the former president. China urged the Philippines to stop infringement, provocation, and wanton hype, avoid complicating the maritime situation on the disputed South China Sea shoal, the Chinese Foreign Ministry said on Thursday. The Philippines said on Thursday it strongly protests China's plan to establish a nature reserve at the South China Sea shoal as a Beijing move to reinforce territorial claim and maritime right in the contested region. China has approved the creation of a national nature reserve at the disputed and shoal named the Hungarian island in Beijing. The designation was an important guarantee that prevent to atoll ecosystem, China State Council said. The Manila Foreign Ministry said the Philippines has sovereignty and jurisdiction over the shoal, which it calls Bazo, describing it as long-standing integral part of the Philippines. IS-linked militant killed 64 people in eastern Congo during two brutal attacks, including one of the funeral ceremony overnight Monday, local officials said on Wednesday, confirming the additional death as family buried over the loved ones in the villages nearby. The deadliest assault took place in the rural village of the Nito in the territory, where at least 46 people were killed at a funeral gathering. Simultaneously, another attack occurred in Fatoto near Ocha Beni territory, claiming at least 18 lives. The death toll from these weak floods on the Indonesian island of Bali has risen to 13 people from 9, the government officials said on Thursday. Through the rain has stopped and water level are receding in most areas. 2 people are missing in the tourist hub, capital of the dispatcher and 125 rescuers have deployed in the search for them, Disaster Mitigation Agency spokesperson Abdul Mahdi said. He also added more than 500 people have been evacuated to school and mosque. Torrential rain on Tuesday and Wednesday caused flood in Dispenser 6 of Bali, A tourism blocking a major road, including international airport. The death toll from a gas tanker explosion on a highway Mexico City rose. 3 with 70 people injured, said Mexico City government head Clara Brugada on Wednesday. During a press conference, Brugada said that injured had been transported to various hospitals and authorities has contained the risk area. At least 28 vehicles sustained damage in the incident. She also added the explosion occurred when a gas truck overturned and ignited on a highway near the border between the Espadia municipality at the edge of Mexico State. Before ending, we go through the SATV News headlines again. Flawed election will undermine all progress, said BNP. Salahuddin is still no consensus for transitioning through a democratic process. Consensus Commission won't impose decisions, only consult parties, said Dr. Ali Riaz. Commission has no authority to implement July Charter. Dakshu voting concludes. Vote counting is underway. Chatradal boycotts elections over rigging allegations. You are up to date with our top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.